One of the things I've been noticing is that not everybody is remembering to watch the videos first. Watch the videos for whatever parts you should watch first. I was talking to some kids in the last class, and they said that they found it very helpful and that they learned to recognize certain kinds of mistakes ahead of time. And they're not perfect, but they are helpful. And then when you do the second section, that's whatever, section A, part A, whatever you call it, the next one after that, call it section B or part B, that one you do, but don't do C. And then at the library, we'll look at your answers to B, make sure it's solid, that you're doing it right, then you can do it for part C. Honestly, I think that if you come to the library tonight, so many of you will complete your relearn packet tonight. I think you'll be pretty much done with it. And that bodes well for two reasons. First off, we're having a test this Friday, and you will have mastered the material, I hope, for the test this Friday. Plus, you can do a retest starting tomorrow if you say you want to take it during lunch or, add extra help on tomorrow morning or whatever you want to do. Just tell me tomorrow night. So that's the scoop. We can get all of that done. Now, as far as the quiz goes, you guys just went over that together. I am confident that you should understand everything. You guys are good now? You understand what little mistakes you made? Right? We had a couple of kids go too far on a couple of questions. We had, by and large, the grades were pretty good. How many hundreds? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 hundreds out of 21. That's not bad. Hopefully tomorrow. The big thing I noticed is I did notice a lot of kids get 75s. Hopefully we can knock that 75 off. Minor, I understand it was a somewhat stupid mistake you did.
It was a struggle.
I think by the end of this year, I'm going to cause you to have a therapist. Minor will go into his therapist, and the therapist will go, "So, tell me how you feel." And he'll just go, "It's bad. Oh, God, it's bad. I can't stand it." So, I think we have that to work on. Sarah, if you would have just told me I'd have worn my boots today. That's it. I think if I tried to do what you just did, I would fall over backwards and bounce.
Yeah, I lifted it.
Oh, you lifted it? Okay, there you go. All right, let's take a look here and go through each of these following equations for the variable. Now, listen, guys, there's two things we're concentrating on right now. The first thing that we're concentrating on is learning the properties, the commutative, the associative, and the distributive I'm very, very confident in. The second thing that we're trying to do is learn our basic, Andre, you're not with me today. Well, no, you're looking more to the side than forward for sure. I want to make sure that we have our basic understandings with equations and that we can anticipate possible pitfalls when we go through that. What are we supposed to learn today? This. What would this be? Right? How to identify examples of associative commutative and missing parts. And we're also going to do some multi-step equations. Now, what does the word associative mean in the English language? Grouped with. Good. So we look for properties where things are being grouped together. What about the word commutative? What does that mean in the English language? Go ahead.
To switch.
To switch. Very good. Okay, so those guide our understandings of what it is that's going on. 5x minus 1 is negative 16. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Standard two-stepper here. 5x equals negative 15. Then I divide by 5. X is negative 3. And that really should be extremely routine for every person in the room. You should be saying to yourselves, "Oh, Mr. Lindquist, give me a whole test, 25 of those guys, and I'm going to get 100. That's what I would hope you're thinking. Now, this guy gets a little trickier because I put the variable on the right, which some kids are not as comfortable with. But the thing I'm emphasizing here is that negative sign belongs to the 2n. It has nothing to do with the 4. What kind of 4 is that?
Positive.
Positive, so I have to subtract 4 from both sides. 8 equals, now here's where danger. Kids forget all the time that 2 is negative, and they often just write 2n. It's negative 2. So n is negative 4. Next step up, distribute. I see the number outside the parentheses. What does that word distribute mean in the English language?
Like give out.
To to give out. Very good. In fact, some of our vocabulary core words, one of them over there is this word process. And in the process of trying to figure out how to solve equations, we always look for the distribute first, where I have to distribute or give out the 5 to both terms. And then I go, is it same side or opposite side? 5 times 2n is 10n. 5 times 1 is 5, equals negative 25. Now standard two-stepper. 10n equals negative 30, divided by 10, and is negative 3. Okay, so now we look down at letter D. What are you doing? Can you stop? That's yours, I assume. Yeah, you keep that, you do your math. Okay, next. You do know that if you turn like that, he can't control himself.
Well, you like stand over there the whole time.
I know, that's because if I stand here, I block your view.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid of blocking your view, all right? But you can't, because poor Andre can't help himself. He's like, I'm sitting right next to a lady and she's putting her feet up on my chair. I can't think about math.
Ew.
So,
I'm done.
Oh my god.
well, poor Andre's embarrassed, but I'm telling you, you know,
I don't know what's going on.
if you're a 13-year-old boy, 14-year-old, are you 13 or 14?
Stop, please.
13 or 14?
Stop it.
No,
Let's just
what's worth thinking about more, math or girls?
distributive
All right.
property.
Second one.
Anyway.
All right, now,
Today's lesson.
is this a same side situation or an opposite side situation? Opposite side. So, I'm going to do minus 2n to both sides. Poor Andre. 3n plus 7 equals negative 2. Love is in the air.
No.
Can't you feel it all around? You're not cheating on somebody, are you?
Oh my
Are you
god.
cheating? You're not? All right, 'cause, you know, that's like a beatdown back in the day. All right.
You like me. No.
Minus 7. What's the matter, minor? You're really going to go to therapy out of this class. 3n equals negative 9. Divide by 3. And is negative 3. How many people got that right? Oh, this is ugly. Okay. Listen, did you do ones like that with Mr. Frank last year?
No.
No, I didn't.
All right, I have to believe that that would have been covered and that you forgot.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm kind of going with that one. All right, what I want you to notice from this question, and we're going to do a lot of these things today. What I want you to notice is when you solve any equation, it's as if you went down through the equal sign, there's a wall. And you have to ask yourself, are the variables on the same side of that wall, or are they on opposite sides of the wall? In this case, they're on opposite sides. Whenever they're on opposite sides, you do the opposite operation. So it's really simple to remember. I'm going to say opposite side, you're all going to say opposite operation. Ready? Opposite side?
Opposite operation.
Very good. Now, if I look through the wall with this one here, this time, I notice that the variables are not on opposite sides. Where are they?
Same.
They're on the same
This
side.
one, this one.
Same side?
Question.
Same operation. So 4x's plus 5x's make 9x, minus 2 is 16. And then I add 2 to both sides. I get 9x is 18. Dividing by 9, x is 2. So in the course of boys, in the course of what we want you to learn and understand today, there are really 3 things. The first one is to recognize when you have to distribute a number outside of a parenthesis. The second is to understand when it's a same side situation. And the third is to understand when it's an opposite side situation. It's really a matter of you recognizing each one for what it is. Did anybody in this room happen to wrestle last year? You would have been good. I'm sure.
I am good.
Okay, listen, here's the deal. In wrestling, everybody thinks the strongest kid is the best wrestler, and that's wrong. I used to think that when I first started coaching it, the strongest kid's always going to win. It doesn't work like that. The quickest kid wins. The quickest kid wins mentally, because mentally he's doing the moves before the other guy can react to the moves. Now, a classic situation in wrestling is if you're on top, whether the guy's arms are out on top of him like this, or if the arms are tucked in like this. If the arms are tucked in like this, you cannot do a move called a half Nelson. But if the arms are out like this, you can do a half Nelson. So when you first begin wrestling, as you get older, this doesn't work as well. But when you first begin, if you see a guy with the arms out, you pop in a half Nelson and you work the half Nelson on him, you usually win. If you see with the arms in, a half Nelson is not going to work. So we have a few other options. We can do a thing called an arm bar, try to pull his arm back, get an arm bar in there. Or we can do different types of cradles, particularly a cross-face cradle. So if a guy's wrestling, he has to immediately understand, based on the positioning of the bottom guy, what can he possibly do? We used to teach him all the time, get a 2-on-1, row the 2-on-1 deep, and we could either take the wrist through the crotch, or we could ride a cross wrist going to a tilt. We could do a whole bunch of different moves based on what the bottom guy's doing. So what we're looking at here is the same sort of thing. If I see a number outside of parentheses, I automatically go to distribute. Just like if the guy's arms are out like this, I go to a half Nelson. The green one, I recognize the letters are on opposite sides, so I automatically go to opposite operations. The red one, I recognize that the letters or variables are on the same side. I automatically go to the same operation. So what I see determines the strategy, the process that I use to go through and get these correct. So let's take a look at the next one too. Let's have you guys try 3, 5, and 6. Go ahead, I'll give you a minute to get those done. 3, 5, and 6. Do you distribute? Is it
Do we
same
evaluate
sign?
them?
Is it opposite sign? There is no evaluating, you're solving now. As soon as you see an equal sign, evaluating's out the window. And we go solely with solving, okay? So yeah, you would divide by 4 at that point, okay? Three, 5, 6. No, 6.
We do all of them, or just the top?
Well, I'd rather you do just the 3, and then I'm going to go back, and then we're gonna just go over them, and then you're gonna do the other 3. Okay? Okay, so if I take a look at number 3, with all of these questions, we always go through the same process. Is this a same side, opposite side, or distribute situation? Guys, looking at number 3. Is this the same side, opposite side, or distribute? What is it? So if it's same side, what do? Same operation. So what is 7 ends minus 3 ends?
4 ends.
4 ends, very good. So 4n plus 2 is 12. Now it looks like the standard two-stepper, send in the ground troops, piece of cake. 4n is 10, divide by 4, and boy, oh boy, now we're getting into that whole decimal thing.
2.5.
If you wrote 2.5, it's right, okay? However, let's say it came out to be 2.555555555. So many kids write 2.5, and they're wrong because they didn't round properly, they didn't express the answer properly. So you could just leave it as 2.5, right, because 4 was into there twice, or reduce it to 5 over 2, leave it as 5 over 2, or 2.5, or 2.5, all of which are acceptable answers. But be so careful if you ever have a question that has a extended decimal. I'm telling you, kids get it wrong all the time. So learn to leave it in fraction form, it's a little bit better. Number 5, is it same side or opposite side? Opposite side. Opposite side? Opposite operation. Minus 3x, minus 3x, 8x's and negative 3x's is 5x, plus 5 is danger, danger, danger. What kind of 15 is that?
Negative.
Negative. Minus the 5, and I get 5x is negative 20, right? 15 negatives and another 5 negatives is negative 20. Dividing by 5, x is negative 4. We good? Okay. Now I fast forward to number 6. On number 6, what should my first step in the strategy be? Distribute. Very good. Right, we want to distribute. What was that? Was that like your best chimp imitation? Distribute. Oh, that was the sort of banana. All right. 3x minus 12 equals 7x minus 4. You know, I wondered about that. I don't think that bananas grow where chimpanzees live.
Oh, I said a monkey. I didn't say chimpanzee.
Okay, all right. They're all monkeys. Are there monkeys where bananas grow?
Where do
Yeah, they eat
bananas
lots of
grow?
fruits. What?
Why do bananas grow?
Well, that's a good question. I know there's some in like the Dominican Republic and in the Caribbean and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any in Africa. And when I see the videos of like monkeys and chimpanzees, it almost looks like our woods. You ever see that?
Yeah.
By the way, do you know that the only other type of being that declares war is chimpanzees? Yeah, they'll get like one group of chimpanzees will declare war on another group of chimpanzees and go in there and fight to the death. It's really vicious. And I believe they said that an average chimp has 6 times the strength of a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like really beastly strong. Everybody gets them when they're cute and little, and they're like, oh, look at those cute little cuddly animals. And then a few years later, they're like, get rid of this thing. Okay, so 3x minus 12 is equal to 7x minus 4. Notice the first thing I did was distribute. That's my 3x minus 12. Now it's taking me into an opposite side situation. So I'm actually, you know what? Let me go back because the handwriting on this is terrible. So let me go back and do this thing from the beginning. 3x minus 12 equals 7x minus 4. Now, let me be perfectly clear about something. I don't care if you do minus 3x minus 3x. I don't care if you do plus 4 minus 7x. If you do each of the steps properly, they always lead to the correct answers. But it's the safest way, because we can avoid negatives, and negatives are where we tend to make mistakes. It's always safest to start with the smallest number of the variable. So 3x's is smaller, so I'm going to go minus 3x's. You didn't need to do that. It's just, it is safer. What kind of 12?
Negative.
So negative 12 equals 4x minus 4. Then I add 4 to both sides. Negative 12 and 4 is negative 8. That's a plus 4. Is negative 8 is equal to 4x. I divide by 4. And I get x is negative 2. Okay? Did you get a 2? Yeah, that's why. See?
No, I got negative.
Okay, yeah, negative 2 is what you want. So many kids, if by subtracting the 3x, you keep the x's positive. If you subtract the 7x, they come out to be negative. Then you got to divide by a negative. And kids just make more mistakes that way. So if you always begin with the smaller number of the variable, if possible, you will create the positive in it. All right, any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How do you work the subtraction for positive and subtraction?
Huh?
Addition?
This, you see this minus 4 here?
Yeah.
I did plus 4.
No, for the 3x to 7.
Well, what kind of 3x is this?
Um,
Right, so I have to do the opposite, minus.
but, no.
So then 7x's minus 3x's is 4x's. I don't understand. Okay. All right, so I think we still need to do numbers 4, 7, and 8. Okay, go ahead. Same sign doesn't only apply to variables, it also applies to numbers.
Oh,
Now, you could do one step where you did +3, and then the next step +2. You're creating more work for yourself, but it does work. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. In a minute or so. Okay, I'm going to start writing the answers up on the board. So when you're done with each question, you can peek and see if your answers match mine. And then this is a really cool way to increase understanding. Just ask yourself where you went wrong. And if you need to talk to the person around you, you can do that too, as long as it's about this. Okay, check your steps out, see how you did. If you have any questions, just raise your hands. Molly?
I'm confused how you got -5.
On which one, 4, 7, or 8? Do you see the fact that the -3 and the -2 are on the same side? Same side? Same side? I say same side, you say same operation. Same side?
Wait, why do you?
Not good.
Same side?
Same operation.
Same operation.
So look, I have 3 negatives and 2 negatives. Together, isn't that 5 negatives?
Yes.
Just like here, did you do 1n plus 3n is 4n?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you do 3 negatives and 2 negatives or 5 negatives?
But isn't
You got
that-
something against negatives?
Yeah. Isn't it positive?
Wrong.
No, you're not multiplying, you are adding. When you are adding,
Yeah, but
well, let me ask you a question. Does 3 shirts and 2 shirts make 5 pairs of pants?
No.
So if I have 3 negatives and 2 more negatives, I get negatives out of the deal. Now, if you don't believe me, do the calculator. Type in -3 minus 2.
Wait.
Okay, any other questions?
Why is adding up?
You're combining like terms.
She thinks she's smarter than the calculator.
Listen, you're combining like terms. It's the same exact thing as saying 3 shirts and 2 shirts is 5 shirts. Literally, you're saying 3 negatives. I could write them out. 1, 2, 3. 2 negatives, 1, 2. All together in there, I have 5 negatives. Okay? Any questions? Okay, hasta la vista, vaya con Dios, when the bell rings. All that other kind of stuff. Let me get your video put up online. Yeah.
We go to the library.
It's the young adult section.
Downstairs.
No, it's actually on the first floor. If you came in the back and walked toward the basement with the stairs, it's just before that on the left. You'll see. There'll be a lot of kids there.